presented by the 2018 Honda Civic Type R. Like no Honda you've ever seen.
Welcome to Toronto. It is Junior Days Saturday here in Toronto, and the roof is wide open. The kids are getting their special treatment here today. It's cloudy and overcast, but it's warm. It's 22 degrees at the start of play. Adam Jones, their veteran center fielder, getting ready. He'll be the second hitter in this ball game. Let's take a look at the lineup for Buck Showalter's team, who's lost the first two games of this four-game series. The Orioles are 19-43. They are in last place, and Adam Jones, over his last 12 games, has hit .353 with a pair of doubles and 2 home runs. And down in that sixth spot, Jonathan Schoop has always hit well against Aaron Sanchez, but he's scuffling right now. For the season, he's hitting .224. But he's 9 for 25 with a home run against Aaron Sanchez, and Sanchez trying to build off a good start his last time out.
It was very good in his last start out. This is his 13th start of the season. That last time out, he threw a season-high 100 pitches. First time that he has done that this season in 6 innings against Detroit, winning for the first time since April the 30th against the Tigers. For his career, he's 6-3 in 11 starts versus the Orioles. That's the most win versus any opponent in his career. So he's really had his way at times with the Orioles. His only game this year versus Baltimore, longest outing of the season. Outstanding effort, 8 innings at Camden Yards.
First pitch of the game is in there for a strike, and we are underway. Jace Peterson making his first appearance in this series, leading off the day for the Orioles. Peterson batting .178, no homers and 9 RBIs. Another fastball hit into center. Pilar backing up a few steps. 1 up, 1 down for Sanchez. Let's take a look at the defense, and the defense has played very well. Hernandez in left, Pilar in center, and Randall Grichuk. Boy, it's nice to see him back in right.
Yeah, his defense, and I think the Blue Jays defense, since Diaz and Grichuk have come back, have been playing much better. Great defense in right field in yesterday's game by Grichuk, and I think it's had a domino effect, him coming back into the lineup in right field. You've been able to put Teoscar Hernandez back in left field where he looks more comfortable. He came up with an outfield assist yesterday. There's Teoscar taking a spot in left field.
Here is Adam Jones. He takes a fastball for a strike. Jones thought it was a little bit up, checked with the umpire and said, okay, that's as high as it goes. Umpire is Will Little behind the plate. 281 on the season for Jones. Breaking ball off the plate. In his last start, Aaron threw 100 pitches. 71 of those pitches were fastballs, and it was a good combination for him.
And the four-seam fastball has been a good pitch for him. I think both of these pitchers this afternoon, Sanchez for the Blue Jays and Gausman for the Orioles, are very similar type of pitchers. They need that good fastball command. He's got the great arm. He can rush that fastball up there, upper 90s if he wants to. He throws it 64% of the time. Four-seam fastball is a good one. Hey, let's try to get some of those pitch counts down by using the four-seam and attacking the strike zone. The changeup he's throwing 27% of the time, and that was the big pitch where he threw 8 innings in Baltimore. That really helped him to get deep into that game.
Fastball misses down and away. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes, the number 2 hitter for the Orioles.
I'm sure the Orioles have taken note of that last start. A lot of changeups from Sanchez as he worked through 8 innings. Let's see if he does that again this afternoon, or if he just keeps blistering that fastball in there.
Boy, he overthrew that breaking ball way off the plate outside. Maile caught that one mostly with his bare hand. Feeling the impacts of that. Will Little, a little professional courtesy, going out to the mound to give Maile a little extra time to regroup. Watch Maile's bare hand.
He's trying to rub it off, right off the wrist area, just trying to shake it off. Yeah, there's the reaction right there. You see him trying to work out the stinging sensation in that hand.
Full count to Adam Jones. Manny Machado is on deck. He'll bat next. Swing and a miss. Jones goes down swinging. 2 away for the Orioles.
Well, I think that was his changeup. It was 89 miles an hour, about 7 miles per hour different than his good fastball this inning, and that was the pitch that was very effective for him against the Orioles. This is a good fastball hitting team, the Orioles. I think you have to diffuse that by using the changeup. That's a good one to get the second out.
3-2 changeup. So Sanchez has retired the first two here in the first inning. Manny Machado, I don't know why he went back to the dugout, but he was on deck and then he went back in the dugout. Couldn't get the weighted ring off the bat, had to go into the dugout and hit it on the concrete floor. So Machado will step in. Machado was 0 for 4 in the game last night. He was robbed and made a terrific effort by Grichuk in the 6th inning. That was against Happ at a very pivotal point of the game. And Grichuk made a nice play diving into foul territory to make a catch. Swinging a drive left field. Nice running catch by Hernandez. He looks night and day more comfortable in left field than right field. Another fine play by the defense for the Blue Jays, and the defense has turned things around. Teoscar Hernandez robs Machado of an extra base hit with a nice running catch in left. Coach is there to make sure he acknowledges a fine running catch. So the Orioles go down in order in their half of the first. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays lineup for John Gibbons. Kevin Pillar down in the 5th spot has hit well against the Orioles. The starter Kevin Gausman, he's 12 for 28, and overall Kevin has enjoyed more success against the Orioles than anybody else in the East. And Randall Grichuk, over his last 4 games, he's doing some damage. 5 extra base hits out of the 6 hits and 14 at bats for Grichuk, and it's good to see that bat coming around.
Going to have to today because they're up against Kevin Gausman. What a mystery he has been in his 12 starts this year. 3-5 record, a 463 earned run average. He has got outstanding stuff, but he has not won since May the 11th at Tampa Bay. Last time out, he gave up 6 runs, 5 of them earned. 4th time he's allowed 9 or more hits in a game already this season. Just like Aaron Sanchez, fastball command is important for Gausman. He's beaten the Blue Jays 6 times in his 14 career starts.
And Ever Solarte is leading off. Has a good cut at that ball down and away. It's a ball on the strike. Solarte has hit in the top 4 spots of the lineup almost exclusively this season. Been the cleanup hitter a lot.
He's in a little bit of a funk, I guess you could say, offensively. Hits haven't been hit that hard. He's mixed in a couple of home runs every now and then. There are the numbers over his last 12 games. So they're trying to slow him down just a little bit. I feel like he's jumping out there and swinging too hard, trying to attack the ball too much. Slow everything down and smooth out that swing.
Yeah, you have been in this boat. I've been in this boat. When you're not going well, the first thing you think about is hitting the ball hard. So you have a tendency to swing too hard and pull your head off the baseball, and things just get worse.
And that's where he is right now. He's just over swinging at times, so they want to slow him down, smooth out that swing.
Gausman picks up the strikeout. Good fastball gets Solarte. Let's take a look at the defense for the Orioles. Mancini, Jones, and Peterson in the outfield. Up the middle, Jonathan Scope in second, and Manny Machado transitioning back to shortstop.
Yeah, and he's one of the best. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. Everybody knows that. He has started every game at shortstop for the Orioles this season. He has 5 errors. 4 of them are throwing errors. Just 1 of them is a fielding error. A little bit different throw from shortstop, from different angles, different types of throw from shortstop, and that's where he's had his problems, but I'll take him every day on my team.
He was a phenomenal third baseman, and now he's done a nice job going back to his natural position at short. Hernandez takes the first pitch, strike. 1-1 now. Teoscar hit his 5th triple of the season last night. Interesting thing about that number, that's as many triples as the Blue Jays hit as a team last year. He's got 5. What do you like about the way he's swinging the bat right now?
Power and speed. That's what I think you're getting from Hernandez. Extra base pop in that bat. I think the defense reflects the type of hitter he has become. He's not a pull hitter. They're bunching him in the middle, the outfield bunching, and straight up, the infield straight up, and I think that reflects the type of hitter he is. That can hit the ball all over the field.
That's a very good split finger pitch as Gausman strikes out the first 2 he's faced here this afternoon. He will rack up some strikeouts. In fact, his career high in strikeouts came against the Blue Jays.
He has got nasty stuff. He was a first-round draft pick of the Orioles, and they've been waiting for him to develop and take that final step, polish him off as a big league hitter. Outstanding fastball, a little bit of a breaking ball, but when he's got that split working and he's throwing enough of them for strikes, that's when he can be really tough.
Justin Smoke. Fastball just missed down the stairs. Smoke's just 2 for 13 facing Kevin Gausman, but he has a home run. Smokey's got 9 home runs for the season and a very good on-base percentage, 375. Ground ball pulled into the shift. Jonathan Scope from shallow right field throws him out. Both starters off to a good start to this afternoon. 3 up, 3 down for Gausman.
Center. Now, Sanchez has been off in some of his starts this season, and of late his landing spot hasn't quite been where he wants it to be. I asked him this week, when are you back? When will people know you're back to the form that of 2016 when you had the lowest ERA in the American League? And Aaron's reply, a lot more strikes than what it's been. He's been around the strike zone, but when he's locked in, there's no nibbling. Now, Sanchez is still adjusting to the adrenaline of being back in the bigs after missing last season. He feels the way to tame that is by getting more and more reps to harness out what needs to be done. And Sanchez says his body is getting to where it needs to be on his 5-day routine. And Buck, he said, quote, "It's coming. I'm not worried."
Yeah, you know what? And he made 8 starts last year. He was injured and had really a write-off season, so he gets back into the flow of things, and he should get better with each start. We saw glimpses of that last time out against the Tigers.
More fastballs. I think he's got such a great fastball, and we saw it from Jay Happ last night, that if you have a well-placed fastball, you can get ahead and use it. I think that sets up everything else with what you throw. At times he will get that two-seam fastball, will run off the plate, or it won't run at all. Those first two pitches to Danny Valencia, he's not going to get hurt if he stays there.
Ground ball. Nice grab by Urshela, and he bobbled it a bit, and that's going to allow Valencia. Now they got Valencia, who made a step towards second, but he'll be able to get back. Urshela grabbed it on the backhand, but when he went to get it out of his glove, he bobbled it, and that allowed Valencia to get down there. It's an infield hit for Danny Valencia. But the bobble momentarily delays Urshela's ability to make the throw.
That was a great play on the backhand, the short hop. And then it just took him a couple of too many steps. Watch when he gets the ball. And here comes the transfer. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 steps before he can get rid of the ball. Well, while he's taking 4 steps getting a hold of the ball, the batter's got 4 steps closer towards the bag. So it'll be an infield hit.
Bunted back to Sanchez. They can get the runner at second. They do. Then they throw back across the diamond. They get the lead runner. Alvarez was bunting for a base hit. He was trying to bunt it against the shift and bunted it right back to the mound. So they get Valencia on the force at second. And Diaz made a high throw. Smoke was able to flag it down, so they get the lead runner, and that's it.
They're in the shift, and the throw's going to go to second base. You can hear Luke Maile, the catcher, tell him to. He's got to throw the ball off his back foot, and a heck of a play by Smoke to keep that runner at first base. Remember, Diaz, the shortstop, normally comes across the bag, but because he was in the shift, had to go away from first base, making that play a little bit tougher.
This is Jonathan Schoop. They had mentioned Scope's numbers against Sanchez. He's 9 for 25 against Aaron. Ground ball. Urshela will go to first base and makes a good throw. Scope's retired. Alvarez moves to second on the plane. Urshela's a very good third baseman, but he hasn't played much since he's come here. This is just his third start at third base. And you can see there's some rust on his defense.
He had some starts over at shortstop also for the Blue Jays. There's Josh Donaldson. Josh still not ready to run on the field and run the bases, but he says he's getting close.
So Mark Trumbo will step in. 2 outs and a man at second. Trumbo was 0 for 3 with a walk in last night's game. He takes a first pitch strike. So right there, Luke Maile and Aaron Sanchez have to say, you know what, we're getting that outside pitch. Let's stay right there. Use that fastball. That ball just barely touching the strike zone, so go right back to it.
Yeah, they didn't get that last night. That's the difference between the umpires. Jay Happ threw a couple of pitches there. So did Andrew Kashner, and they didn't get the call. This afternoon, that looks like the plates expand a little bit.
Now you can see Happ and Estrada. And last night, Happ made several good pitches to the outside and didn't get the calls, but he made the adjustment. He and Russ Martin changed up things, and they moved the ball back onto the strike zone. Up the middle. Solarte will make a throw in time. What a nice play by Solarte. I didn't think they had a chance. But Herrera Solarte stayed with it. Makes a jump throw to first base to retire the side. This ball looked like it was going to be an infield base hit. Trumbo bounces one off the glove of Sanchez and gets another nice defensive play from the second baseman.
over his last couple of starts, so he's made a minor adjustment to his windup. Watch him on the left, April the 11th, and today he's going to go over his head now, as opposed to April 11th where he just keeps the glove right in front of his face. And what that does is it keeps him over the rubber just a split second longer, and it keeps his whole body together. His release point seems to be better, and if the first inning is any indication, the minor adjustment looks like it might be working for him. He's had trouble with his fastball command, and if you're a little bit too quick to the plate, you open up just a little bit too quick, the arm drags a little bit, you can't throw the ball where you want to.
This is Kendrys Morales. Goes after that 1-0 pitch and fouls it back. It's 1-1.
I'll tell you, when you're struggling like that, you got to try something. A hitter might try a different stance. He might spread out a little bit more. A pitcher can change his windup. And sometimes that little adjustment makes all the difference in the world.
We had an interesting conversation with Pete Walker, the pitching coach for the Blue Jays, about that very thing, about timing and rhythm and release points, and how, you know, that's a little bit of an old-fashioned delivery where you have the arm pump and you have the timing, but he said it's always about where that hand is when that front foot hits the ground and how you can command your fastball. Line to left field, get down ball. It is off the glove of Mancini. Morales is headed for second, and he'll get there with a leadoff double. Morales continues to show signs that things are turning around for him at the plate.
Well, he's using the whole field. They play him in that shift, and it looked like they kept throwing him off speed pitches. Stayed back and hit the ball where it was pitched. That ball slicing away from Mancini, and Trey almost comes up with a circus catch, but it's just off of his glove.
Boy, that last angle gives you a good idea of how much that ball slices as Mancini gets a piece of it, but it's off his glove. A leadoff double for Morales. That's his 7th double of the season. Kevin Pillar. He bunts it up the first baseline. Alvarez went to the bag, and Pillar is safe. What a heads-up play by Pillar against a guy that he has hit very well in the past, but he takes advantage of that leadoff double, thinks about a bunt, gets himself a base hit.
It accomplishes two different things. First of all, the least you're going to get out of this is a runner at third base in less than 2 outs. You got a tough right-hander. Just push that bunt up the right side. And now he gets a base hit out of it. And the Blue Jays have a chance for a big inning. This is an outstanding baseball play from Kevin Pillar, pushing the ball up the first base side with a runner at second base and nobody out.
There are so many opportunities on the field to get base hits if you just look around, and he caught Alvarez, the first baseman, who's making his first start of the season at first base. You got a little in between as to whether to go for it or lay back. So Randall Grichuk now. First pitch strike to Grichuk. Randall over his last 4 games, 6 for 14 with 3 doubles and 2 home runs.
We were just talking about minor adjustments for the pitcher. There's been a minor adjustment for Randall Grichuk, trying to keep his hands close to his body when he swings. They don't want him to go out and go get the ball and roll over that pitch. Stay back.
Lays off that inside pitch. It's a ball and a strike. Boy, that Pillar play was such a great opportunity to take advantage of that leadoff double. He pushed it, and it wasn't as if he surprised him. He just squared around and bunted it perfectly between the pitcher and the first baseman.
And there was a little indecision between the first baseman and the pitcher. Who should get it? Who should go to the bag? And that's all it takes if you want an infield hit. Just push it up there. Look at, you see the indecision between Alvarez and Gausman. Who's going to take it? Who's going to go to the back? That's all it takes.
Alvarez, as we mentioned, making his first start at first base. He started 5 times at third. 2-1 to Grichuk. Fouls it out of play. Pat, you've talked about this often, how a hitter's mindset changes dramatically with a runner at third as opposed to that runner being at second.
And that's the the reason why you do that. You put the pressure on the defense, you get that runner at third base, and now Randall Grichuk doesn't have to get a base hit to get an RBI. He can just get a long fly ball and get himself a sacrifice fly.
That splitter, Pilar takes off for second. Strong throw by Cisco, and they get Pilar. So Grichuk strikes out on a splitter. Pilar is thrown out at second as Cisco makes a very strong throw. His 10th caught stealing this season.
Cisco 9 for 33 coming into this game. That looks like a delay steal from Pilar, trying to catch the Orioles napping just a little bit, but Scope and Cisco right on it.
So now there are 2 outs. Luke Bailey's going to have to deliver with 2 outs. Luke batting .263. Pilar caught stealing for the first time this season. He had been 9 for 9. And it was a delay steal. He had bounced off a couple of big jumps towards second, and then he broke. But Cisco, the catcher, had his eye on Pilar the whole time.
I don't think he has to worry about Morales at third base on a double steal. So the play was, we're going to throw through and try and get the runner if he tries to steal.
Bailey lays off that high fastball. He's come through many times early this season, hitting .360 with runners in scoring position. Broken bat, little liner back to the mound, and Gausman pitches around it. Blue Jays had runners at first and third, nobody out. They leave a base runner at third. Enthusiastic fans that come to Rogers Center and watch this fella here. He's going over the rail, off the hand, down in front, and oh no! He didn't get the baseball.
Or
but
did
a fine effort. And now the lady is helping him back up. The guy says, "Don't spill your beer. That's the most important thing." And then the lady says, "You know what? That was a terrific effort. I'm going to give you the baseball anyway. And now for that, you get a big hug." What a friendly place Rogers Center is. That was terrific. That guy went, what, 4 or 5 rows over there and didn't come up with a baseball.
And didn't spill a drop.
And didn't spill his beer. Number 1. Trey Mancini, the left fielder, is 0 for 6 up against Sanchez. Another thing that Aaron did last time out against Detroit, he worked quicker, and he's done it again today. And you know, the catchers are responsible for that as well. As a catcher, set up quickly, get ready to give him a sign, and then you send a positive message to the pitcher. Okay, I'm ready for you. Let's go.
You know who else likes that? The guys fielding. You're engaged. You'll see great plays. We've already seen Teoscar Hernandez take a base hit away from Manny Machado because of a great play. The play up the middle by Solarte. Justin Smoke dug that one out last inning.
You know, when a pitcher is working quickly and throwing a lot of strikes, the infielders are on their toes, anticipating the next pitch could be hit to me. So keeps everybody engaged, keeps everybody on their toes. O'Malley anxious to give a quick sign here. Pulled foul. Man, we talk about this all the time, Pat. The more strikes you throw, the more the hitters are thinking about swinging. And then you'll get them to chase borderline pitches.
You know, the guys I used to hate to face were the guys who work quickly, because I felt like, they know something I don't know. The guys who are walking around the mound, good pitch, good changeup, and he got him in swing mode. When they're walking around the mound and they're looking around, you're just like, I got this guy. Body language tells a lot for a pitcher.
That's a great example of throwing strikes will get you a lot of funky swings. And this is a changeup, and watch this ball. It's a foot outside and in the dirt, and Mancini, because he got so many strikes early in his at bat, swings and misses. Breaking ball missed upstairs. This is Chance Sisco. 42nd game of the season for Sisco. He's late on a fastball. That's another thing. I was talking to one of the Orioles coaches this morning about how many times you see hitters in a fastball count get a good pitch to hit and foul it straight back. I mean, that's the one you're looking for. You got the count in your favor. Be ready to hit the fastball.
I think that's what Brooke Jacoby has been trying to get the Blue Jays to do, is don't forget about that fastball. You've got two pitchers this afternoon, Sanchez and Gausman. They're going to use that fastball 60–70% of the time. So I think in any of those counts, you have to be ready to hit it. Now, if he happens to throw you a changeup or a breaking ball, you have to adjust.
Well, let's be honest about this. Not many guys are going to hit a good breaking ball. You're going to hit a mistake breaking ball, but you're not going to hit a good one. So why look for a breaking ball until you get two strikes where you shorten up and protect the plate? Look for that fastball.
Well, this should be a fastball count unless he wants to throw him the changeup, but this should be a fastball here. Doesn't want to walk him, and it is.
Popped him up. Urshela, the third baseman, out into the outfield grass, makes a catch. 2 away. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball. Beautiful afternoon. The roof is open. The Blue Jays are just 2-6 with the roof open here at Rogers Center this year. Let's say nice afternoon. Not much wind at all. Very, very calm day. Back to the top of the order. There's a first pitch curveball. Jace Peterson has been around a bit. Again, his career with the Padres came up in 2014. He's played with Atlanta, New York, and now the Orioles. Originally a first-round pick of San Diego back in 2011. He grew up in Louisiana.
A little bit of speed. He's 5 for 5 in stolen bases. Look, Showalter putting him in the lineup today to try to ignite this offense, they have had trouble scoring runs.
And he draws the walk. Sanchez threw a couple close pitches, didn't get the call. So it's a 2-out walk issued to Peterson. Peterson, as Pat mentioned, has some speed. He's 5 for 5 this year. His career high had 12 steals back in 2015 with the Braves.
Good time to go, I think, with 2 outs. If you get thrown out, you got Adam Jones to lead off next inning. If you're successful, you got Adam Jones hitting with a runner in scoring position.
Not running. First pitch is outside. Two balls and no strikes to Adam Jones. Buck Showalter's Orioles looking to generate any kind of offense. It's been a disappointing season in that regard. Jones takes the 3rd ball off the plate. So Sanchez got a strikeout and a pop-up first 2 outs the inning. Then he walked Chase Peterson. And now he's behind Adam Jones 3-0.
He's a little bit off the tracks right now. He's got to figure out a way to get back into the strike zone. There you go. He threw a lot of breaking balls to Chase Peterson and ended up walking him.
Three and 1 now to Jones. This might be a running count for Peterson. There he goes. Outside ball 4. So Peterson was on the move, but it's a back-to-back walk situation now as Jones has issued the walk, and that'll bring Manny Machado to the plate with a runner in scoring position. O'Malley is out to the mound, having a little chat with Aaron. Back-to-back 2-out walks. He walks the leadoff man and then walks Adam Jones.
You know, and catchers are so important to the overall defense of the team. That might have been twofold right there, that meeting on the mound. First, about what you're going to use with the runner at second base, but maybe Luke Maile noticed something in Aaron's delivery that might help him to get back into the strike zone.
Machado batting .413 with runners in scoring position. Only Yuri Gurriel of the Astros has a higher batting average with runners in scoring position. He's hitting .429. A little bit of a jam here for Sanchez. The pitch. Remember, Machado lined the ball into the power alley in left center, and it was run down by Teoscar Hernandez. It was headed for the wall for sure.
He's got outstanding power to the gaps. That ball was left center field. The outfielders are a little bit deeper now.
Popped him up shallow right field. Smoke going out, and Smokey makes a good play. Grichuk was not going to get there. Solarte was shading up the middle, and Justin Smoke was the best bet to make that play. He stayed with it, battling the sun. Makes a nice catch over his shoulder to end the threat.
Dad's Den. That's next Sunday when the Nationals come to town. BlueJays.com for tickets. Today at Nationals Park, it got a visit from the new Stanley Cup champions, and I don't think Alex Ovechkin has let that cup leave his hands since winning it the other night in Vegas. They came out to throw the ceremonial first pitches. By the way, Buck, the Capitals have a suite at Nationals Park. Ovechkin wanted a mulligan on this one. And my colleague Dan Kolko was up in the suite with the Capitals, asked Ovechkin what it's been like to win the cup, and the entire team started pouring beer and singing, "We are the champions." A celebratory mood in the nation's capital in the U.S.
That is awesome. And you saw he threw it out to Max Scherzer, who attended a Stanley Cup Finals game dressed out in a Caps sweater with a hockey stick and a helmet. That was awesome. How about this guy? Aledmus Diaz is on fire. That's his 6th hit in his last 7 plate appearances. He's smoking.
That average is really climbing now for Diaz. On top of being a good defender and really helping out the Blue Jays defensively, offensively, he has created a spark down at the bottom of the lineup. Early on in the count, all over this fastball.
Leadoff single for Diaz. His average now at .238. Gio Urshela takes one outside for ball 1. Urshela just 5 for 32 with the Blue Jays. Hasn't had many opportunities. There goes the runner. The hit and run is on, and it's off Valencia's glove. Diaz is going to go to third. Machado throws late and wide, and the Blue Jays put the hit and run on and put the pressure on the Orioles defense. Valencia saw the runner breaking from first, and when he dove for it, ball went off his glove into shallow left.
An interesting combination to use the hit and run with. Diaz runs okay. Urshela, not really known for a guy that can handle the bat, but he handles it this time off the glove of Valencia. Heads up base running by Diaz as he goes to third. You know, you can put the hit and run on a guy who is struggling like to force him to concentrate on that baseball and just put it in play. He does, and the Blue Jays, 2nd inning in a row that they have 1st and 3rd, nobody out.
Got to cash in this opportunity. Back to the top of the order. Solarte goes after the first pitch off the plate and fouls it out of play. Solarte struck out on a fastball away his first time up. Inside. No score. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Splitter misses downstairs. It's 2-1.
Boy, this is when you can sell out right here and guess fastball from Gausman. See how far you can hit it. If he doesn't throw it, take it.
Base hit. Diaz is in to score. Urshela stops his second. Solarte with an RBI single, his 37th RBI of the season, and the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead.
You know, he indeed got a fastball in that 2-1 count. And remember, last time up, we were talking about slowing things down and smoothing out the swing. He didn't try to overswing on that one. 4-seam fastball. Look how smooth that swing is. Head down. He doesn't try to do too much. Just flips it in the left field for an RBI hit.
He found a big hole on the left side of the infield. 1st and 2nd. Teoscar Hernandez, he struck out on a split finger pitch back in the 1st inning. 28 of his 49 hits have been extra base hits. He went too far. Ted Barrett, the crew chief down at first base, calls him for the swing.
He's thrown him a couple of nasty splitters. Some of the other ones were tumbling up there, but those last two were pretty nasty.
But Jacoby having a chat with Randall Grichuk, setting him up for his next at bat.
I think to make the splitter effective, you have to throw enough strikes with it. If you keep bouncing it, or if it's out of the play, hitters are just going to ignore it and just cross it off their list of pitches to look for. But if you throw enough strikes, I think it becomes a very good pitch, and it really teams up well with your fastball when you can throw it as hard as Gausman can.
Broken bat. Not into the hole at short. Machado goes to second. That's all they'll get, as Solarte is out on the force play. Hernandez got jammed by Gausman, and it's a weak grounder to short, but the Blue Jays avoid the double play. Solarte is out 6-4 at second.
So you throw a couple of splitters, then you reach back with a fastball and run it right in on his hands. He hit it in a decent spot. If there's no runners on, that's going to be an infield hit. The only play for Machado was the second base.
Urshela now at third. Teoscar Hernandez at first for Justin Smoke. We mentioned a great average for Machado with runners in scoring position. Smoke is 6th in the American League. He's hit .372 in these situations. Foul tip off the catcher's mitt.
It's been patient. Pitchers, for the most part this year, have really pitched around him. He just hasn't had the luxury of having a real hot hitter at one time behind him where he's going to get challenged with a lot of fastballs.
Because of that, Smoke is 3rd in the American League with 41 walks. I'd rather have him swinging the bat.
Yeah, me too.
Tried to check and went too far. Gausman's ahead, of ball and 2 strikes. Blue Jays have a run in here in the 3rd inning, looking to add to it. And Ever Solarte with an RBI single to left. Drives in Aledmus Diaz. Buck Showalter's Orioles have lost the first 2 games of this 4-game series. They lost 5-4 on Thursday night, 5-1 last night. Smoke hits it on the ground. This should be 2. Scope to Machado. Back to first, double play. But the Blue Jays break out on top. 3 straight singles, and an RBI single by Solarte has given the Jays a 1-0 lead.
18, delivering an all-new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone. A little bit of a scary situation last night in the third inning with Kevin Pillar and Devin Travis. Both finished the game, but they had this collision. Again, it happened in the third. They finished the game, but afterwards Travis felt some soreness. Devin got checked out this morning, and as a precaution, Travis sits today. A sequence that could have been much worse, Buck.
It sure could have been much worse, a rash, and Devin heard Pillar right at the last minute, and it took a very awkward step to get out of his way. And then Pillar, too, had a couple of awkward steps, but hopefully they'll be all right. Danny Valencia falls behind 0-1. Valencia had an infield single, a little bobble by Urshela. A little chopper. There's a good curveball. Don't care how good you are, how hard you throw, how much movement you have. Location is still the most important thing in pitching.
And just like Valencia's first at bat, he finds himself 0-2. Two really good pitches.
Make it 3. That was a good changeup in another good spot. Curveball he wouldn't go after. Blue Jays with a 1-0 lead. Orioles have just one hit. That was Valencia's infield hit. Changeup. Downstairs. 3-2 now. Off the plate. So that's the third walk issued by Sanchez, a leadoff walk here in the fourth.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
So you want to play checkers? Take you forever to get the checkers to the ballpark, as big as they are.
Especially when you get kinged like that. You got two of them you have to deal with.
Pedro Alvarez hit into a fielder's choice his first time up, and now Sanchez having trouble finding the strike zone.
I thought that was a big at bat in that inning after an infield hit by Valencia. Alvarez tried to bunt, tried to beat the shift. He bunted it right back to Sanchez, and they got an out. They would not score. Same situation. Leadoff batter on, shift employed by the Blue Jays.
This is really important that Sanchez communicates with those middle infielders. That's Urshela at shortstop. Diaz, the shortstop, is on the second base side of the bat. So on a comeback, he's got to know who he's looking for first.
He did last time, and it was Diaz, and that was one of the reasons they couldn't turn it. Diaz was coming across the bag. His momentum took him away from first base, and he just couldn't get enough on the throw to double up Alvarez. Big, powerful hitter. He's looking to get the ball in the air.
Good change up there at 89 miles an hour. Alvarez couldn't pull the trigger. That's the third strikeout for Sanchez.
Tell you, you get that thing working like that, and good hitters just can't pull the trigger like you see. The Super Slow-Mo is brought to you by the Samsung S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now. Alvarez with 2 strikes on a changeup. Can't let it go.
Jonathan Scope. He grounded out to third base his first time up. He fouls off the first pitch. Scope's average at 223. He's having an off season. He's been battling some injuries. Scope last year was an all-star.
plays every day. Finally missed some games when he had to go on the disabled list earlier this season. Had a big year for them last season. Had 32 home runs, 105 RBIs as a second baseman.
Oh, 0-2. Outside. Scope had a right oblique strain early in the season. He was activated on the 8th of May, coming off the DL. 1-2 pitch. Ground ball. Smoke will go to second. They'll get the lead runner. Return throw in plenty of time. Again, the defense has been on its toes all afternoon. Justin Smoke, a very good defender at first, makes a strong throw to second, hustles back to the bag, gets a return throw to complete the 3-6-3 double play. Prospect from the mound for a long time, and you look at his first 10 starts this season, had a good ERA at 3.48, but he's been roughed up over his last 2 outings.
It's puzzling when you watch his stuff and how good it is, but I think it all goes back to fastball command. Can he throw the fastball, his 4-seam fastball, where he needs to? There have been times where he misses his spot and somehow that ball just leaks out over the plate, and that's when he gets hurt. 4 times this year he has had starts where he's given up at least 9 hits. That's a lot of hits. He's given up 81 in 70 innings this season coming into this start.
Yeah, his arsenal of pitches suggests he should be much more consistent than that. Kendrys Morales. Kendrys had an opposite field double his first time up, goes after that high heater. Gausman throws hard. He's got a great splitter. And I guess if anything's really missing, I don't see the real consistent breaking ball. A pitch where
that third pitch.
That third pitch.
Yeah. He does have that. He has a slider. And he'll mix in a curve every now and then.
Morales takes another shot to the opposite field, but that slices out of play.
You know what I would like to see him do, and I don't watch him as much as everybody else. There's what his arsenal looks like. Fastball, splitter basically, and a little bit of a slider. I'd like to see him use his fastball, but use it up and down in the strike zone. What that does is when you throw the fastball up, it changes the eye level, and then you can bring it back down. Then you can throw the splitter, and as a hitter you're not real sure. You can't pick up the spin if you're using the fastball up and down. But he's had success against the Blue Jays, 6-3 in his 19 games.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Morales. Bounced right back to the mound. Gausman takes his time, one away. Gausman was the 4th pick in the 2012 amateur draft. Carlos Correa, picked by Houston. Byron Buxton by the Twins, and Mike Zunino by the Mariners, went ahead of Gausman. Came out of the great baseball school, LSU. Orioles had another big pitcher from LSU many years ago, Ben McDonald.
He was 1-1. First round, first pick.
Kevin Pillar had a bunt base hit his first time up, pushed a bunt up the first baseline. That was after the Morales double. It was first and third, nobody out, but then Gausman got out of it. It's a high splitter. He made a great point about the effectiveness of a split finger pitch, and when you think about it, it is a split fingered fastball, and it is most effective when you throw enough fastballs in the strike zone to get the hitters to think swing.
That was a hard one there at 86 miles an hour, and he gets some tumbling action on it, but it's more of let's get him off the fastball by using it, and he can use it as a finishing pitch. With 2 strikes, he can expand the strike zone with it, and that's where he picks up a lot of his strikeouts.
2-2, another tapper back to the mound. 2 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. He's got an update for us. Pudge Rodriguez's son is pitching in that game. Derek Rodriguez is now a pitcher for the Giants, and he was knocked out of that game early. 2 2/3. He is charged with 5 earned runs on 6 hits. Gio Gonzalez on the hill for the Nationals.
Just like his dad, he's got a big arm. I've seen him pitch. He's got some good stuff.
Bouncing ball to third. High hop for Valencia. Nice play. Quick inning for Kevin Gausman. We've played 4. The Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio. Combined their numbers in an all-starter with Aaron Sanchez in Detroit.
Look at those sterling numbers. An ERA of 0.84. An ERA for the Blue Jays, 5 starters. This is what they were hoping to get from the beginning of the season. Estrada, Gaviglio, Garcia, and Happ yesterday. They've only allowed 1 home run, keeping the pitch counts down, going deeper into the ball game. That was against Baltimore, New York, and Detroit, those 5 games.
Aaron again delivering a first pitch strike to Mark Trumbo. Trumbo was retired on a nice defensive play by the second baseman, Yervis Solarte, up the middle. Trumbo hit one back toward the mound. Sanchez tipped it a bit with his glove, and Solarte made a nice play on the shortstop side of second to throw Trumbo out.
Good change up there. The length that I was talking about from the starters, starting with that Sanchez start at Detroit, 6 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings, just takes the pressure off the bullpen. And if you can keep doing that, keep going deep into the game, then John Gibbons can go to his bullpen when he needs to, not when he has to.
Trumbo bounces out to the shortstop Diaz, a 2-hopper right to short. First out of the top half of the 5th.
You know, here's another thing by going deeper into the ball game. They're carrying 8 relievers right now. There's the ERA over the last 5 games, 0.84 when it was 5.5. If the starters continually get into the 6th, 7th, 8th innings, you might drop one of those relievers and have an extra man on that bench that you can use to help you score more runs. So it's an option if they choose to do it that way.
Also, when the starters are pitching well, the offense has the mindset, hey, we don't need to score many. Score a couple, we might win it. Mancini quickly behind 0-2. Sanchez delivering another first pitch strike.
It was almost out of necessity where they had to have 8 relievers because the starters just couldn't get deep into the ball game consistently. So that phrase, like you were saying, it all starts with the guy on the mound, the starter. It's so true. Marco's been better. He's been throwing more curveballs, more cutters. We'll see him tomorrow.
Pete Walker has different assignments with each one of his pitchers as they have different issues they have to attend to. There's another good changeup, and Mancini strikes out for a second straight time.
At the Honda Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon. Good time for a ride up along the shores of Lake Ontario, or you can come to the ballpark and have a good day here. Roof is open at Rogers Center. Chance Cisco late on that first pitch fastball. Again, when you throw first pitch strikes, all of a sudden the hitter is behind in a defensive mode. Hot shot. Diaz from his knees, and it's wide. Diaz rocked back to his backside, tried to throw from his seat of his pants and couldn't make the throw. It was wide of the mark at first.
Yeah, he initially tried to get up. Ball's hit, knocks him backwards. He tried to get up right there and then realized I better just throw from my knees, and it's a little bit off target. Infield hit for Cisco.
Yeah, that's a tough call. I mean, it's a ground ball to the shortstop, and he just fell back and tried to make a throw from sitting down. But Cisco is credited with an infield hit. It's the second hit for the Orioles, back to the top of the order. Jace Peterson walked with 2 outs in the 3rd, and Sanchez threw him a lot of breaking balls in that at bat. It was kind of curious how he wasn't aggressive with his fastball.
Yeah, 2 outs, nobody on, leadoff hitter. You got danger lurking on deck and in the hole. So he's pumped a couple of fastballs in there. Now, not much power from Peterson. Hasn't hit a home run this year.
Okay.
Two balls and a strike to the leadoff man, Jace Peterson. Peterson hit 7 home runs in 2016 for the Braves. That's his career high. Utility man that plays all over the diamond. He plays in the outfield. He plays around the infield. Pulls a base hit through the right side. Cisco's going to stop at second. He had thoughts of going to third, but Grichuk got to it quickly and gets it back in. So Peterson has his first hit, back-to-back 2-out singles here in the 5th.
Well, I guess if you're going to give up hits, you want to do it with 2 outs. Pulls that 2-seam sinker through the hole on the right side. Left-handed batters have such an advantage when there's a runner at first base. The first baseman has to hold on that runner. All you have to do is make sure you catch it out in front and roll your wrists over. Get it on the ground and get yourself a base hit.
Luke Bailey and Aaron Sanchez with a brief meeting on the mound with 2 outs and Aaron Jones at the plate. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Jones has struck out and walked in his 2 plate appearances. He is a very aggressive first pitch swinger,
especially with runners in scoring position.
Takes that one well off the plate outside. Sanchez has handled Jones in the past, including today's strikeout in the first inning. Adam Jones is now 3 for 30 against Sanchez. Fly ball, not deep. Hernandez circles in and waits for it, and the inning is over. Orioles leave a pair as Jones flies out the left field. A couple of 2-out singles, no damage. Sanchez and the Blue Jays still have a 1-0 lead over Kevin Gausman.
Back to their downtown condo with their 2.5-year-old and 6-month-old. They put the kids down, chatted for about an hour, and then they went to bed. A little different for Steph Curry and Klay Thompson last night, I'm sure. But Hap did say that he had a chance to reflect on the milestone, and he said early in his career he wasn't sure if he'd reach 5 wins, let alone 100. Hap has also made an adjustment the last 2 starts. He had been going inside to righties, but first against Detroit, then Baltimore last night. He started reading swings, seeing hitters take pitchers on the outer half. He started going away, and Hap told me today, I wanted to be aggressive in the same fashion, and the adjustment buck and the cat and mouse game worked.
That sure does, and Jay's a veteran. Obviously, he's in his 12th big league season. He's now 35 years old. For the Blue Jays, Hap has won 57 games. He's 57 and 38 in his 2 different stints with the Jays. He's been a very consistent pitcher, including that 20-win season back in 2016. He was 20-4.
Better pitcher this time around.
Much better pitcher.
Emphasis on the word pitcher.
Yep.
For him. He can really pitch. 100 wins. Congratulations to him. You're a third of the way to a 300. That was always a staple, wasn't it? Yeah. To get into the Hall of Fame, 300
wins.
Wow. Speaking of Hall of Fame and pitchers, we had a chance to visit with Jack Morris yesterday. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it was great to see Jack. He was at the Robbie Alomar golf tournament and came to the ballpark. Of course, he came in to say hi to Scott Carson. He didn't say hi to you and I.
You didn't even know he was here, did you? He snuck in and snuck out.
What a great day for Jack Morris and Alan Trammell going in as teammates later on in July.
About time, too, huh? How can the guy who was the pitcher of the 80s take so long to get into the Hall of Fame?
You know, that was the one thing, and you and I both played in the 80s, and we remember that he was as dominant as there was. I mean, the last guy he wanted to face was Jack Morris. And we've seen a lot of splits from Gausman. Jack Morris is the guy that really brought it into prominence. That entire Tiger team. And I asked Jack about that, and when did you pick it up? He said Milt Wilcox is the guy that really kind of taught it to him early on when Wilcox was there with Detroit. But Roger Craig was the great pitching coach, and he really taught those Tigers. Dan Peachy threw it very well.
They all threw it.
Yeah, it was a very good pitch, and because it was new and we hadn't seen it a lot, it was ultra effective.
Being able to adapt as a pitcher. When Jack first came up, it was fastball, little slider, and I wouldn't even call it a curveball. So he'd spin it up there. But then once he got that splitter, he became a different guy, different level. Then you add in that bulldog mentality and that I'm not going to get beat by you mentality, and you got a Hall of Famer.
Haley grounds it to Valencia. Jack Morris pitched over 200 innings 11 times in his career. He had 6 shutouts.
Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom in theaters June 22nd.
So Maley grounds out to the third baseman. That was Diaz. He singled and scored his last time up back in the third. Diaz has 6 hits in his last 7 plate appearances.
I didn't think they'd throw him a fastball first pitch. That looked like a slider or something from Gausman. He's been all over those fastballs early in the count.
There's a split right at the bottom of the strike zone, 1-1. Diaz had the game-winning base hit in extra innings on Thursday night. 3 for 4 yesterday. Goes after that splitter. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get another fastball for the next at bat or two.
Just look at the numbers. I mean, they say he's hitting fastballs and things inside. Every pitch inside has been yanking everything to left field. So they're trying to keep the ball away from him now.
I want to give you one more number on Jack Morris before we put him to bed for the afternoon. He pitched 18 years. He threw 175 complete games.
Those days are over.
175 complete games.
Could he pitch now?
Yeah, he would. He wouldn't come out of the game.
Exactly. He'd tell them.
Valencia throws out Diaz, 2 away.
The biggest stat for him was how many World Series rings does he have? He has 1 with Detroit, 2 with Toronto, 1 with Minnesota.
Yeah.
He had teams in the playoffs also. Pitched in the playoffs a few other times when his teams did not get to the World Series.
87 with the Tigers. 91 with Minnesota. Of course, that's when he won the World Series prior to coming to the Blue Jays. Gio Urshela had a base hit on a hit and run that set up that only run of the ball game. Diaz singled, then Urshela got him to third on a hit and run. He pops this one up right in the center of the diamond. Pedro Alvarez, the first baseman, comes over and makes the grab. Quick inning for Gausman in the fifth. We'll go to the sixth. Blue Jays lead at 1-0. In the top half of the sixth, and Manny Machado is one of the best players in the game. And you look at the total base leaders in the American League since 2015. Machado leads a very impressive list of great hitters.
Machado, Altuve, Betts, and Abreu, some of the better hitters in the American League since 2015. 118 doubles and 123 home runs. I mean, that's how you get your total bases up. Extra base hits, slugging percentage, those type of numbers. But 118 doubles, he has more home runs than doubles since 2015.
And he won't turn 26 until the 6th of July. 26. I mean, you could argue that he hasn't even reached his prime.
Well, what is that? 27? 27 to 32 are your prime years physically in the major leagues?
Yeah, he is some player. Had 51 doubles in his first full season in 2013. Won a pair of Gold Gloves. Been an All-Star 3 times. Last year he hit just .259. You know, one thing about Machado, the same is true with Bryce Harper. Neither one of them has ever driven in 100 runs.
That's unbelievable when you think about it, that neither one of them, the two biggest jewels in the free agent class, have never had 100 RBIs. I know it's in there. It's coming. It's going to happen.
High fastball, and Machado strikes out. He's 0 for 3 so far against Sanchez.
Good time to elevate a fastball for Aaron Sanchez. Manny Machado is a very good low ball hitter. That's a four-seam fastball that's up in the strike zone. That's the effect I was talking about being able to throw this high fastball upstairs and then the low fastball. Change things up on those hitters.
Strikeout number 5 for Sanchez. Danny Valencia goes after the first pitch, and Aaron has done that consistently all afternoon. He's pitched ahead. Danny Valencia is 1 for 1 with a walk. He had an infield hit in the second. He walked in the fourth. He was erased on a double play. Look out. Fastball got away, trying to go upstairs, but he got underneath and pushed it up and in. Blue Jays trying to make it 3 in a row. Another fastball upstairs.
Got underneath that one just a little bit.
Well, a good time for curveball. He was very patient with that delivery. Didn't try to overthrow it. Didn't try to throw a snapdragon hook. He just knew he needed to throw a strike.
Well, those last 2 pitches, he got underneath them and the ball sailed up and in. That was a perfect time to throw it.
Valencia thinking about 2. He's going to make a big turn, and Hernandez gets it back in. Look at that throw. A 1-hop strike right on the bag.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays. Only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
One of the things I've been impressed with Teoscar Hernandez, the arm strength and the accuracy. He threw out Danny Valencia yesterday in the 9th inning. I think Valencia had flashbacks of being thrown out in the 9th inning and put on the brakes. He would have been out again. I think he's got a above average arm, but what makes it even better is his accuracy.
Pedro Alvarez goes after the first pitch curveball.
Luis Rivera was telling me a story today. He said when he was playing right field earlier this season, he wasn't real sure about his outfield arm, and he said he picked up a ball in the outfield over by the wall and threw a 1-hopper to third base. He said right then and there, he said, this guy's got an above average arm.
Ground ball. Solarte will go to second. They'll get the lead runner, but they won't complete the double play. Alvarez is aboard. Valencia is out on the force out at second.
Because of the shift, that'll go 4-5. Second baseman to the third baseman. Really no chance to turn over that double play. Wasn't hit that hard.
Jonathan Schoop 0 for 2. Oh, he has no runs on 4 hits. Blue Jays 1 run on 5 hits. Blue Jays looking to continue this string of good starting pitching. And Sanchez trying to complete this 6th inning. It'll be another quality start if he can get out of this 6th inning without allowing a run. Two and 0. Last time through the rotation, all the starters have been very good. Started with Aaron Sanchez pitching against the Tigers in Detroit. 6 innings of 2-hit ball. He walked 3 and struck out 7. Then Marco Estrada pitched into the 7th against the Yankees. Got a no decision. Sam Gaviglio, no runs on 3 hits over 7 innings in his start. Also against New York. The Blue Jays would lose that one in 13 innings. And then Jaime Garcia, a run on 4 hits over 6 innings in his start, opening up this series. Three balls and a strike now to Jonathan Schoop.
Got to be careful now. He's got home run potential. He hasn't hit that many so far this year, just 5 of them in 176 at bats, but he's capable.
Fly ball to right. Grichuk is there, and that'll end the inning. Sanchez, 6 good innings in the books. No runs on 4 hits. Good starting pitching continues for the Jays.
Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Going in this year, former Blue Jays outfielder Lloyd Moseby, former Expos pitcher Pedro Martinez, and Canada's top baseball historian Bill Humber. The ceremony begins at 1 o'clock. There's an inductee autograph session following the event. Ball games, barbecues, auctions, a whole bunch of stuff happening. BaseballHallOfFame.ca for details.
Thank you very much, Arash. Congratulations to that class of 2018 going into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. Blue Jays' own Lloyd Moseby. Very worthy induction. This ball is driven to left field. Mancini back. He's not going to get it. Up against the wall. Solarte is headed for second. He'll slide in there safely for the leadoff double. His second hit of the afternoon.
His last time up, he was able to slice the ball to left field. Didn't overswing, and he had the same approach this at bat. Looked like another off-speed pitch from Kevin Gausman. And watch how smooth he goes about and swings that. Not a lot of effort, but look how far the ball goes. The other way, extra bases. Good start for the Blue Jays here in the 6th.
I think he thought he hit it out of the ballpark. He was breaking it down a little bit, and then he had to turn it on around first base. He's got to hustle to get into second. He thought that ball was going to go out of the ballpark. So Teoscar Hernandez now with a chance to add to the Blue Jays lead. It's 1-0 for Solarte. That's his 13th double of the season. Two and 0.
Needs some breathing room right here. He's got that great split like we have talked about, and he's got to throw enough strikes to keep him off the fastball. Coming into this series, hitters have hit 364 off of his fastball, which is astounding when you look at his stuff. That's a good fastball there, elevated.
And it came on a 2-0 count, and you would think that Hernandez could have gone on it. He's a great fastball hitter.
But he's thrown enough splitters, I think, to put that in the back of the mind of Hernandez.
Brooks Jacoby always reminding his hitters, don't get off the fastball. There's that splitter, jammed him. 2-2 now. Teoscar had an RBI triple in the 7th. That was against Tanner Scott. And Scott threw a couple 100-mile-an-hour fastballs in that inning in last night's game. Fights it off to stay alive. Gausman's been very economical with his pitches, thrown just 73 pitches to this point.
That was another pretty good fastball in the inner half. You can see he's in defensive mode, if you will, with 2 strikes. He's got to make contact. At least try and move that runner to third.
Fair ball inside the foul line, down the left field line. That's going to bring Solarte home, and Hernandez with another extra base hit has given the Blue Jays a 2-0 lead.
Well, he threw him enough splitters that he timed it up, and with 2 strikes, you could see he had cut his swing down. He didn't want to strike out. He wanted to make contact, and he wanted to put the ball in play and at least move that runner over third base. So he's going to knock him in. Look how he stays back just long enough, keeps the hands back, and that exit velocity on that swing was 107 miles an hour. That ball was rifled into the corner.
So the Orioles have followed behind 2-0, back-to-back doubles here in the 6th. Still no activity in the Orioles bullpen. As we mentioned, just 74 pitches thrown by Buck Showalter's starter, Kevin Gausman. 2-0 Blue Jays. Justin Smoak has grounded out and hit into a double play.
Trying to keep the ball away from him so he doesn't pull the ball on the ground.
Borderline strike up and away. There's Machado behind the bag at second on the first base side. Valencia, big hole between Valencia and Machado. It'll be interesting to see if they keep the ball away from Smoke. Goes after that splitter. What do you do when you're facing a guy that throws a splitter? What are your sight lines telling you about where you should swing at?
It's got to be down, right? Everything is down. There are hitters who would adjust to guys who had good splitters. They'd move up in the box and try and catch it before it tumbles out of the strike zone. That's a good one. In a good spot, down. It looks like a fastball as a hitter. It looks like a fastball, and it's going to ride to the knees. But then it upsets your timing. There's the grip and the movement. A hitter sees fastball until he starts to swing and then recognizes splitter. It's too late to hold up.
So Smoke strikes out. He's 0 for 3. That's the first out of the inning. Now Kendrys Morales will try to pick Smoke up. There's still a runner in scoring position. Hernandez at second base. He lays off that first pitch split ball. That splitter down, and he never offered at him. Machado has slid back over to the left side of the infield on this at bat. Morales had an opposite field double his first time up.
Where Jonathan Schoop is, the second baseman, way out in right field. If you're the runner, Hernandez, take advantage of that. You can get way off at second base, which he's doing. He's getting a tremendous secondary lead.
Yeah, this is really interesting because Machado's not keeping an eye on Hernandez at all. And Schoop, he's not even in the picture. So if Hernandez just walks off second, he should be able to steal it. I know it's difficult with 2 strikes, but my goodness, you should be able to get a huge jump. Now Machado takes a couple of steps in behind him.
And I'm thinking, get a huge secondary lead, a ground ball to the second baseman where he has to go to his right and backhand it. He might be able to score. I mean, think about that. Watch how far he is getting off on that secondary lead.
Machado broke in behind Hernandez, but Francisco stayed put with the strikeout.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by the Samsung QLED TV. See nothing else.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon. A lot of folks down the shores of Lake Ontario. We're a couple blocks away at Rogers Center. Francisco with a quick meeting on the mound with Kevin Gausman. Kevin Pillar is 1 for 2. He's now 13 for 30 against Kevin Gausman. Solarte hitting in the leadoff spot for the first time this season, has gone 2 for 3 and scored a run and driven in 1. Pillar behind now 0-2. Now here's a perfect time to move up in the batter's box like you were talking about. You know that you're probably going to get a splitter in the next 1 or 2 pitches from Gausman.
You can anticipate it, not necessarily look for it, but just anticipate it.
99 miles an hour with the fastball, and Gausman, after back-to-back doubles, strikes out the side, but the Blue Jays have taken a 2-0 lead. Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership. The Blue Jays are trying to win their third game in a row, something they haven't done since early May. And Aaron Sanchez, another fine outing. 6 innings, no runs, 4 hits allowed after doing the same against the Tigers in his last start.
Here's another thing. Aaron Sanchez looking to win consecutive starts for the first time since September of 2016. I mean, that's how long it's been since Aaron has gone back-to-back with wins.
This is trouble into center field. Pilar comes and makes a terrific catch. Well, the defense has been outstanding all afternoon in support of Aaron Sanchez. Kevin Pilar left his feet, makes a nice catch. First out of the inning.
I've got a few stars on my scorebook today because of the defense. How about the determination from Pilar? He's playing him straight up, and this ball is slicing away from him in center field, but he never gives up. He said, I'm going to make the catch as soon as it was off the bat. I know that I've got Randall Grichuk backing me up if I miss it. And he takes away a hit from Trumbo to the delight of his starter.
Well, just think about it. Leadoff single changes the entire inning. And Sanchez gets the first out. Trumbo. I got 2 red stars against Trumbo today. First inning for first at bat. Solarte made a nice play up the middle. And now Pilar makes a good play. And there's a base hit. Trey Mancini is now 1 for 3.
Teoscar Hernandez took extra bases away from Manny Machado in the first inning. Kevin Pilar, we have become very familiar with that effort in the outfield over the years.
Danny Barnes loosening up in the Blue Jays bullpen. I have 4 red stars in my book, 2 against Manny Machado, Hernandez, and Smoke. Smoke made a running catch on a pop-up behind first that was going to score a run that ended the inning in the third. Fly ball deep to right center. Grichuk back at the track, and he plays it back in. They got a shot at the runner at home. Good throw from Solarte, and it is not in time. Bailey can't come up with it, and the runner will go from second to third. Boy, they had a nice relay. Grichuk played it very well off the base of the wall in right. He threw it to Solarte, who threw it home. They had a shot at the base runner, Mancini, but Luke Maile couldn't dig it out of the dirt.
You couldn't draw it up any better than that by the Blue Jays defense. Ball is hit by Cisco deep to right field. Mancini does the right thing getting around second base. But look at this relay off the wall to Solarte. An accurate throw home. It's a short hop. That's a tough play for the catcher. It's a short hop. And Mancini comes in with the tying run.
Infield's drawn in now.
The run to give the Blue Jays a 1-run lead.
Blocked by Bailey. The defense has been really good this afternoon, and Grichuk makes a nice play off the wall.
Backs up, flips it over to his hand. There's 1 throw, 2 throws, short hop, and Mancini comes around the tag to score their first run. It's now 2-1, and the infield has to come in.
It's a double for Cisco and the RBI number 16. Ball on the strike to Jace Peterson, the leadoff man. He is 1 for 2 with a walk. Well, you got to think there's possibility of a bunt in this situation, even though the infield is drawn in.
Normally I would say yes, but they're on the road, and that would just tie the game up. If it would give them the lead and they're on the road, they don't get the last at bat. So Buck Showalter's going to try and play the percentages. I don't think they would do the contact play here, not with the runner and who's coming up on deck.
Jones is on deck. 3-1. 100 pitches for Sanchez. He threw 100 in his last start over 6 innings. Blue Jays have a 2-1 lead. The tying run just 90 feet away. He walks him. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Before we do that, John Gibbons has already made the call to the bullpen, so we'll hold off a second as Gibbons has made the call. He's got Danny Barnes down in the bullpen ready. So Sanchez walks Peterson for a second time. Barnes will come in, and he inherits a 1st and 3rd situation with 1 out, trying to protect this 1-run lead for Aaron Sanchez. So Sanchez goes 6 1/3. The runners on base are his responsibility. The Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. One out, 1st and 3rd with 1 out. His 27th appearance of the season.
And he worked here 2 games ago on Thursday against the Orioles. An inning, had a couple of strikeouts. He needs one right here.
Adam Jones. Base hit to right. Cisco comes in to score, and Jones picks up his first hit of the afternoon, his first career hit against Danny Barnes. He's now 1 for 7 against Barnes. But it's a big hit. And now Sanchez, at best, will end up with a no decision. He's responsible for that runner at second.
He is a free swinger and hunting fastballs with runners on base. High fastball hits it into right field. That's Jones's 2nd hit of the series. They've pitched him tough.
I tell you what, he was thinking the right side of the field that entire approach, and he slashed it through the hole. So it's a 2-2 game now. Manny Machado. Peterson at second, Jones at first. Ball on the strike.
Aaron was outstanding today, pitching into the 7th inning. 6 hits, 5 strikeouts. The runner at second base is his responsibility. Barnes in the past done a really good job of stranding those runners. It's where John Gibbons likes to use him. Bring him in with runners on base. He throws strikes. Throws a little bit different depending on the hitter. Righties he'll throw fastball, slider. There's Aaron Loop, who has joined Joe Biagini to get loose. Against lefties, Barnes is fastball, changeup. Righties more fastball, slider.
Popped him up back over the screen and out of play. The Orioles now have 2 runs on 7 hits. Same for the Blue Jays, 2 runs on 7 hits. Baltimore has stranded 6 to this point. Blue Jays turned a double play in the 4th to end that inning. Strike 3 call. What a pitch. Manny Machado couldn't even offer at it, as Barnes delivers a fastball right on the corner, down and away.
Really had him guessing on an off-speed pitch because he's got such a good changeup, and he fouled back the changeup. Barnes comes right back and paints this fastball right at the knees and right at the corner.
Machado down on strikes for a 2nd time this afternoon. Danny Valencia is perfect on the day. He's got 2 hits and a walk. First pitch changeup. He's out in front.
He's had some good hacks today. He was on that changeup.
Bailey was thinking about a pickoff at 2nd, and when he went to grab the ball out of his mitt, he dropped it. But Diaz was cutting in behind the runner at 2nd.
That looked like a set play, like a fastball away, and in the meantime the shortstop sliding behind that runner to keep him close.
Good time to do it with 2 outs, because that runner at 2nd base is trying to get a big lead. Now you've shortened him up a bit. Ground ball to the shortstop. Diaz will flip to 2nd, and that'll end the inning. But the Orioles scored 2 runs on 3 hits, and they've tied it. No decision for Aaron Sanchez.
Happened all day today. Teoscar Hernandez in the 1st inning against Manny Machado, and this ball up the middle, Solarte saving a run with a great play throwing out Trumbo, and then Kevin Pillar. This led off last inning. Who knows what would have happened if he doesn't come up with this. Catch probability 50-50, 48%. He comes up with it. Blue Jays have played great defense all afternoon, and I'm going to throw in the Justin Smoke pop-up down the right field line earlier in the game. That saved a run for the Blue Jays.
That was off the bat of Manny Machado to end the 3rd inning. So we go to the bottom of the 7th. It's a 2-2 game. Well, Randall Grichuk will step to the plate. It's a anniversary of sorts for Grichuk. On this day in 2009, he was picked in the 24th pick of the 1st round by the Angels.
And now the rest of the story.
He was one pick ahead of Mike Trout.
Wow.
Swing and a drive. Get up, ball. Get up, ball. Get out of here. Way out of here and gone. Stay hot, Randall.
We talked about him in the opening, about the numbers that he has put up since coming off the disabled list. 3 doubles, now 3 home runs, and 7 RBIs since coming off the DL a week ago. And just like that, the Blue Jays untie it with one swing of the bat. I tell you, that can be very demoralizing to a pitcher when your team battles back, ties it up, you throw one pitch, and you're losing again.
Luke Maile skies it on the infield. Manny Machado, the shortstop, makes the catch. What a nice swing by Grichuk.
Low pitch. He's going to go down, get it, dig it out of here. That exit velocity, 110 off the bat. He has got some pop. He has had some 20 home run seasons in the major leagues.
That would be a nice situation if Hernandez could be the everyday left fielder and Grichuk could be the everyday right fielder.
You got your power, some power on the corners. Boy, that ball went a long way.
Aledmus Diaz 1 for 2. I mentioned Grichuk was drafted on this day in 2009. Steven Strasburg was the #1 pick in that 2009 draft.
Yeah, we were talking about Mike Trout being drafted after him. It was by the same team, right? The Los Angeles Angels, or were they called the California Angels at the time?
I think they were the Los Angeles Angels.
Anaheim or whatever. They've gone through a few different, but they picked both of them.
Ground ball to Valencia. 2 away. Let's check in with Jamie Kemble. That was a Jake Arrieta start. Luis Garcia gave up that home run to Choi.
And Josh Hader is now in the game for the Brewers, so that game might be over. That guy's been unbelievable.
Yeah, he has been the best middle reliever in the game. 69 strikeouts in 34 1/3 innings. There's a base hit up the middle. Urshela's second hit of the afternoon.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now.
Buck Showalter will make a pitching change here as Kevin Gausman is out. He trails 3-2. Richard Blyer, the left-hander, coming on. Sitting inside the TD zone, our guest from one of TD's community partners. New pitcher into the ball game is the lefty Richard Breyer. He worked on Thursday night and had an inning and allowed just one hit.
Very effective and very efficient reliever for the Orioles. He's 3-0, very good earned run average. Comes right at you.
Solarte goes after that first pitch, and Breyer retired Solarte on Thursday night with a ground ball to the third baseman. Pass Hernandez then had a single to center, but Smoke grounded out to end the inning. So an inning of work Thursday night and a single and nothing more for Breyer. Kevin Gausman gives up 9 more hits. You talked about the number of hits he has surrendered. The Blue Jays have the lead because of that man, Randall Grichuk. Grichuk hitting his second home run in as many games, his 5th of the season. He's hit 3 home runs in his last 5 games.
Yeah, how about that? And 3 doubles. So the extra bases are starting to come off of his back.
Fly ball to right. That'll end the inning, but the Blue Jays take the lead. Randall Grichuk has been hot since coming off the DL last night against Andrew Cashner. He lead off home run in the 5th. He leads off the 7th with a go-ahead home run this afternoon. Pitches over those 6 1/3. Allows 2 runs on 6 hits. That second run came in to score after he left the game. Danny Barnes gave up an RBI single to Adam Jones. 4 walks, 5 strikeouts for Sanchez.
Now it's up to the bullpen. After Danny Barnes throws 2/3 of an inning, Aaron Loup will start the 8th inning. Doesn't have a record this year. ERA of 3.94. He pitched in Thursday's game. Faced one batter. That was Chris Davis. Retired him. Much better job against left-handers now. They're just 10 for 42. A lefty was scheduled to hit for the Orioles, but Buck Showalter has gone to his bench.
Craig Gentry, the pinch hitter, batting for Pedro Alvarez. He takes the first pitch strike from Loup. Gentry 1 for 3 as a pinch hitter, batting .237 for the season. He's a key batter for Aaron Loup because Gentry can run. It's a 1-run game. Gentry has 9 stolen bases. He leads the Orioles. He has almost half of their 20 stolen bases as a team. So you got to get him out.
Yeah, keep him off the bases. Because you got a couple of home run hitters coming up after him. Fastball, curveball, changeup. That's what you're going to get from Loup, and he does a good job of burying that fastball inside the right-handers.
Missed away. It's 3-1. Now it's a full count. There's Jonathan Scope, second baseman. He's 0 for 3. Full count to the pinch hitter, Craig Gentry. Weak ground ball to the second baseman. Solarte throws in time, one away.
It's time to fire up your senses. Your best experience begins with Broil King, available at your local home hardware. Here's how.
John Gibbons has come out of the dugout, and looks like Joe Biagini's going to come out of the bullpen. Biagini was up and throwing. He's ready to come into this game. So Loop gets his man, gets the pinch hitter Craig Gentry. Jonathan Scope is the batter. Joe Biagini will face him with one out. Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead. Into the ball game. Biagini was the losing pitcher on Wednesday night in the final game of that 2-game series against the Yankees. Biagini gave up a couple of home runs in the 13th inning, a 2-run shot to Aaron Judge and a solo home run to Giancarlo Stanton.
2 of his best starts, Buck, for Joe Biagini has been against the Baltimore Orioles. If you remember it last year, he threw 7 innings, had 10 strikeouts against the Orioles. Next time, he threw 8 innings against the Orioles and gave up 2 earned runs. I'm wondering if that's what Gibby's thinking here. The past success he has had against the Orioles, you're facing 2 right-handed, very tough hitters. I think he's banking on Biagini using that good curveball to get out of this inning.
It's ahead of Jonathan Scope with the first pitch strike. Hit him. The breaking ball got away from Biagini and it hits Scope. So he will go to first. Looks like a curveball that gets away from Joe and sails inside. It looked like it caught Scope on the back of the shoulder.
He's got a good curveball, but that one he just missed with it. And now the go-ahead run comes to the plate.
Mark Trumbo takes a first pitch strike. Trumbo has faced Biagini a lot. He's 4 for 13 against Joe.
Joe Biagini can get ground balls. He doesn't look like a ground ball type of pitcher with his arsenal, but he can get his share of ground balls. That's what they need.
Well, cutter for 0-2 now. Trumbo is 0 for 3 this afternoon. 0 for 3 last night. He had a home run here on Thursday night, part of a 2-hit effort. Scopes at first. 8th inning, the Blue Jays lead it 3-2. He reaches for that breaking ball. That hard cutter away.
That's a key pitch for that cutter. He said he was getting too much on top of it and it wasn't cutting. He needs to get that hand on the side of the ball where he can cut it away from the right-handers. That and that little sinker will produce ground balls.
Little chopper out in front of the plate. Biagini throws to first. Not in time. Ted Barrett, the first base umpire, indicated Smoke was off the bag. He called him safe and then made the motion that pulled him off the bag. And John Gibbons is going to ask the video room what they think of it. Biagini slipped a little bit as he fielded that ball. Made a high throw to Smoke at first.
As a first baseman, you're caught in between. Do I keep my cleat on the base? I got to keep the ball in front of me. Gibby's going to come out there and talk about it. There's the stumble on the high throw. He's off the bag, and they're not going to look at it.
So Biagini hits a batter and gives up an infield hit. So he doesn't retire a batter, and he's going to be out of the game as Tyler Clippard makes his way in from the bullpen. Orioles threatening here in the 8th. This series worked on Thursday night, pitched in the 7th inning, actually struck out the side, but he gave up a home run, the first big league home run to Austin Wynns, the rookie catcher.
33 games now for Clippard. He's won 4. He's saved 2. He's had 6 holds this year, respectable 352 earned run average, and he's got to clean up the mess. A couple of runners on, and they haven't gotten the ball out of the infield. After Luke got his man Gentry, hit batter and an error has set up an inning. Now Clippard's got to try and get out of it.
Yeah, Biagini is charged with an error after hitting Jonathan Scope. Trey Mancini now, runners at first and second. Blue Jays clinging to a 1-run lead. First pitch upstairs to Mancini. Mancini singled and scored the first Orioles run. He came in to score on a long double off the bat of Chance Sisco. Two balls and no strikes. The Blue Jays so far this season are 4-1 against the Orioles. Trying to improve on that mark here this afternoon. But the Orioles are threatening. Boy, Luke Maile just anticipated that was going to be a strike, and Pete Walker can't believe it.
Neither can I. I thought for sure that was going to be called a strike.
So it's 3-0 to Mancini. He walks him. That'll load the bases. So the Orioles have had base runners on all afternoon. They have stranded 8 to this point, but they still trail 3-2. Aaron Loop, Joe Biagini, and now Tyler Clippard have pitched in this 8th inning.
And the only one to get an out so far was Loop, the first batter. Clippard has done much better this year against left-handed batters than righties. That changeup really comes into play against lefties.
Chance Sisco had an RBI double his last time up. Takes strike one. $34,643 here this afternoon at Rogers Center. Hoping the Blue Jays can make it 3 straight wins against the Orioles. Strike 2. Kind of a delayed call from Will Little, the home plate umpire. Still just 1 out. Biagini looking for his bullpen mate to pick him up here.
Pick him up. Make a pitch here. Looks like they're going to try and strike him out by throwing a high fastball. He's been successful against lefties, but I think because of that changeup. He's given up 9 hits all season long to a left-handed batter.
One and 2. Ground ball, foul. If the Orioles lose this game, they'll fall 25 games under 500 for the first time since the final day of the 2011 season. It has been a long drop for the Orioles. A ball and 2 strikes. He wouldn't chase.
That high fastball is just to set up his changeup where he can try splitter. I think this is the pitch right here. You want to get him out. You don't want to go to 3-2. The action pitch, as they call it.
Popped him up. That's going to reach the seats out of play. Miguel Castro, the big righty. He took the loss on Thursday when Aledmus Diaz drove in the winning run with a single in the bottom of the 10th. So again, a 2-2 count. Chance Sisco is 2 for 3 this afternoon. Tyler Clippard trying to get out of this nasty jam. He got him. He got a big strikeout for the second out of the inning. In fact, he threw him that splitter, and Cisco went too far.
Again, I think it was set up because of the high fastballs. Put that in their mind. There's the offset splitter. And he comes up with a big strikeout. Cisco can't hold up. That's Tyler Clippard making his way through an at-bat against a left-handed batter.
So Maile and Clippard with a brief meeting on the mound. They talk about Chase Peterson. Peterson playing for the first time in this series had a good day. A couple of walks, a single. He is 1 for 2. This is a tough kind of hitter for Tyler Clippard. Guy that's short to the ball, not a big swinger. He's always trying to put the bat on the ball, nothing more.
That helps. Jump ahead, strike one.
The Orioles have left 8 on base so far. They have the bases loaded here in the top of the 8th, and they trail 3-2.
You can see Peterson, he's not giving in. He wants plate coverage, and he's trying to hang in there as long as possible. He knows the scouting report on Tyler Clippard is splitter changeup. Those are the pitches he is going to use to try and get him out. I think the outfield, they've taken a couple of steps in.
What a good changeup. Boy, he floats that thing right in on the outside corner. Clippard is ahead 1-2.
Yeah, that's the pitch he wants to get you out on.
Did he go? Clippard now will flip to home, and they throw it away. 1 run is in to score. Throw it to first. Got to throw it to first.
Did he call him for a swing?
I think he called him for a swing, didn't he? Now they're appealing. And Will Little said no. The ball gets away. Scope comes in. Check this out.
2 strikes.
He definitely didn't swing at it.
He did not.
Ball gets away from Maile, goes back to Clippard, and Scope comes in from third. Clippard's throw gets past Maile. And they score on the wild pitch. So it's a 3-3 game. Second and third, 2 outs. He strikes him out. But a tying run comes in to score on a wild pitch. It's a 3-3 game. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
Tough inning for the Blue Jays bullpen. 3 relievers pitched in the 8th inning. The Orioles score a run without benefit of a hit.
Without getting the ball out of the infield. Hit by a pitch, the error was the big play, I think, in the inning. That set it up, that a walk and a wild pitch.
Miguel Castro, new pitcher into the game for the Orioles in his 3-3 ball game. The Orioles had a hit batter, took advantage of the error by Biagini. A walk to load the bases, and then they score on a wild pitch. Chance Cisco camps under that pop-up and makes the catch. Hernandez is retired. I mentioned Castro picked up his 2nd loss of the season on Thursday night with Diaz getting the walk-off base hit against him.
That was against the slider, his 2nd best pitch. His best pitch is a hard fastball. I was talking to Diaz after that game-winning hit. He said, boy, his fastball was moving this much, and it was like a foot, and it was 94 or 95 miles an hour.
Trey Mancini takes over at first base as Jace Peterson is now in left field.
Gentry will take over in right field. That was his shot.
Hot shot past the first baseman by Smoke.
Pedro Alvarez was pinch hit for by Gentry. That was the first batter in the inning. That was retired by Aaron Loop.
Gentry batting in that spot where Alvarez was, 5th in the lineup. He's in right field. 2 balls and a strike to Justin Smoke.
There's that good fastball that Diaz was talking about there. It's 94-95 with movement. I mean, a lot of movement.
Way outside. Kendrys Morales waits on deck. He has doubled in this game. Smoke draws the walk.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. In theaters June 22nd.
Now, Buck Showalter finds himself in a 3-3 tie here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Orioles have stranded 10 base runners and had plenty of opportunities, including a pair of base runners left on base in the top half of the 8th. Kendrys Morales rips that one into the seats in the 2nd deck.
Got the whole left side if he wants it. There's Danny Valencia, who has positioned himself in that hole between the first baseman and the second baseman. Machado is at shortstop. If that fastball is moving as much as the Blue Jay hitters were talking about, that could be advantageous for Morales. You stick your bat out there, slice it the other way.
1-1 pitch. High fly ball to center field. Jones has got plenty of room. Smoke is halfway. He'll go back to first. Morales retired on the fly ball to center. Kevin Pillar is 1 for 3 so far this afternoon. Right on the corner at 95. Hard breaking ball.
There's John Axford starting to get loose for the Blue Jays.
Oh, hits it into center field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Smoke stops at second. Kevin Pillar with a base hit on an 0-2 pitch. His second hit of the afternoon.
Pretty nasty stuff. Castro started in the Blue Jays organization, was traded to the Rockies. The Orioles picked him up April of last season for a pitcher by the name of John Keller. They brought him to the big leagues. He can start for him. He's got one of those rubber arms. It looks like he can throw every day if you need to. He's got good stuff. Just 23 years old.
Randall Grichuk homered his last time up. For Grichuk, his 5th home run of the season was a leadoff homer in the 7th. That gave the Blue Jays a 3-2 lead at the time. The Orioles tied it with a run in the top of this inning. Couple of breaking balls. It's 1-1. Tyler Clippard uncorked the wild pitch that allowed Jonathan Scope to score from third base.
Ooh. You're looking a little bit more comfortable at the plate. Hitting base hits will do that for you. Give you confidence.
He started in a very deep hole. Went on the disabled list, missed 29 games, and then came back. He's been swinging the bat much better. High fly ball into center. Should end the inning. Jones backs up, and the Blue Jays are retired in the bottom of the 8th. They leave a pair. Get a walk in a single and nothing more. We'll go to the 9th. It's a 3-3 ball game. John Axford coming on for the Blue Jays. Lineup.
We talked about Randall Grichuk at the beginning of this show today. Talked about how he's starting to drive the ball and come up with extra base hits. This is his 3rd home run since coming off the disabled list. He's also had 3 doubles. Today, that is our drive of the game. That home run gave the Blue Jays a 3-2 lead at the 7th inning. Orioles have come back to tie it. We head to the 9th.
John Axford pitching here for the 28th time, and Ian Harris the meat of the order. It'll be Jones, Machado, and Valencia against Axford.
They brought in Axford on Thursday night to face these same hitters. He gave up back-to-back home runs to Valencia and Trumbo in a game that the Blue Jays eventually would win in extra innings. I think Gibby likes to bring in Axford. He's got a little bit better arm, a little bit more power stuff against those power hitters.
Adam Jones had an RBI single in the 7th. It was a game-tying single that made it 2-2 at the time. Axford ahead quickly, 0-2. Cutter into right field. Grichuk's getting over, trying to cut it off. He gets it, fires it back in to keep Jones at first base. A leadoff single for Adam Jones, and Grichuk made a nice defensive play.
Outfielders are playing a little bit deeper now. Tie score, 9th inning. They got to cut off any ball in the gap or down the lines. With 2 strikes, Adam Jones, he's going to right field all the way. But look at Grichuk. Cross him up, get over there, cut the ball off, and how accurate his throw is at second base. Jones would have been out. But the outfielders are playing a little bit deeper for this reason right here. Cut the ball off, get it back in, hold him to a single. And a ground ball can still be a double play.
Leadoff single for Jones. And look at Jones acknowledge Grichuk's fine effort in right. Manny Machado is 0 for 4. He struck out in each of his last 2 plate appearances. He was called out on strikes his last time up in the 7th inning. Two close pitches, and they're both off the plate, down and away. It's 2-0. Gets away from Melee, and Jones moves up. He'll try to backhand that ball. It kicked off his glove, and that takes the Orioles out of that double play situation.
Yeah, that 2-seam fastball moves so much from John Axford. It's a 96 mile an hour with movement. Dive bomber right in front of home plate, and Luke can't come up with it. He can't block it. It's 3-0 to Machado, but more importantly, a runner goes to second base, so they're going to just take the bat out of his hand.
So Machado is given the intentional pass. Still nobody out. Danny Valencia. Valencia's had a nice series. A couple of hits today. Line drive to right. Grichuk over, makes the catch. Jones is tagging. Here's the throw to third. It's cut off. Jones moves up on the fly ball to right. Valencia lined out to the right fielder, and Jones did a nice job of moving up.
A great read by Adam Jones and a very good throw from Grichuk. I thought they had a shot if they let the ball come through of getting him at third base. This camera angle will show you. Right away, he's going to tag up. He leaves. Here comes the throw. It's on target. He has a shot of getting him at third base, but the ball's cut off.
I think Diaz did a nice job by cutting that ball off just to keep the double play in order. Machado is at first. It was going to be close at third. I grant you that. It was on line, no question about it. Jones moves up, and now he's at third. Gentry came into the game as a pinch hitter in the 8th and grounded out. He can bunt, and he is a very good bunter. Not showing bunt here. He takes the first pitch strike.
Strike one, and everybody on the infield has shortened up. The corners are going to come in, and the middle infielders, you can see them talking about it now. Solarte and Diaz, they're shortened up. Slowly hit ball, they got to come home because Gentry can really run. sharply hit ground ball and they catch it, they can go around the horn and turn 2.
There's the bunt, and the squeeze was on. The Orioles have really struggled to score runs, so Gentry, without question, their best bunter on the team, had the squeeze bunt, and he got a piece of it to protect Adam Jones.
Over the last 12 games, the Orioles have scored 3 runs or less 10 times. So they're struggling to score runs. They're not hitting home runs like they normally do. So Buck Showalter's got to try everything. That looked like the suicide squeeze
it
right
was
there.
Indeed a suicide. Jones broke for home as soon as Axford made a move to throw home. So now there are 2 strikes. Bailey's got to really be aware of that ball in the dirt.
Machado keeps inching off at first. There he goes. And they give it to him.
They concede second. They go ahead run at third. Machado moves into scoring position. No stolen base for Machado.
Now the infield can come all the way in. Here's the middle infielder, Solarte, and Diaz on the turf.
Gentry fights it off. Well, he did a nice job on that sinking fastball. He was just trying to put the bat on the ball and flare it over the drawn-in infield.
You can see how long he's waiting. Look at this. Let it get deep. How far back he hits that ball. He doesn't want to get out there too soon and strike out. So you let that ball travel, get a little bit deeper.
He'd like to throw a breaking ball here, but Axford has bounced so many of those breaking balls that the runner at third, Jones, the potential for a wild pitch increases dramatically when you call for that curveball.
Yeah, he can get him with the fastball. You're right, though. And if you're Luke Maile and you do call a curveball, anticipate it in the dirt, give up any part of your body to keep it in front of you.
.97, but off the plate outside. Crowd reacting to what they thought was a strike, but it was clearly outside. The Orioles are 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position this afternoon. They've stranded 10. Broken bat. They're coming home. Jones is out at the plate. Diaz with another good play. They were playing the contact play.
You know, you can do that with runners at second and third because then you still have a runner at third base even if you go. What you do and get thrown out, what you try to do is you try to force the defense to make an error. Watch where Craig Gentry leaves the bat. Right in the sliding path of Adam Jones, and he's got to slide right over the bat. Contact play. It's right there, and he's out at home and actually kicks the bat. Look at that. No place for Adam Jones to go. And he's out.
2 outs now. Machado's at third. Gentry's at first. There goes Gentry. Ball chopped over the mound. Solarte from second throws to first, and that'll end it. What a job by John Axford in the Blue Jays infield. Diaz makes a nice throw to cut down a runner at the plate. Solarte makes a good play to end the inning. 3-3 as we go to the bottom of the ninth. and Alex Cobb will go to the mound. They'll be opposed by Marco Estrada. It all starts at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Game 4 of this 4-game series. Blue Jays and Orioles will wrap it up tomorrow afternoon. Marco Estrada looking to build upon a good start his last time out. Well, here we are in the bottom of the ninth. The Blue Jays had a walk-off win on Friday night. Miss Diaz with a RBI single did the honors. The 4th time the Blue Jays had a walk-off win this season. Quickly 0-2 to Luke Maile.
Guy on the mound on Thursday when they gave it up is on the mound right now for Baltimore. That was Castro.
Ground ball to short. Machado takes his time. 1 out. Here's the matchup that allowed the Blue Jays to walk it off. It happened on Thursday. Miguel Castro to Aledmus Diaz.
Slider that stayed on the inner half. And no doubt about it. As Teoscar Hernandez, remember, Hernandez got into scoring position on what looked like a single to left field, and he hustled his way into scoring position, scored on that base hit by Diaz. Clutch hitting. Blue Jays need to find a clutch hit. They have left 4 runners on base over the last 3 innings.
6 overall in the game. Breaking ball is foul out of play. Blue Jays have played 2 extra inning games on this homestand. They lost in 13 to the Yankees 3-0, and they won in 10 innings thanks to Diaz's RBI single. And hanger just a bit too far inside, but Diaz is able to foul it off and stay alive. Line to the third baseman, Valencia. Diaz hit it right on the nose, but to the third baseman.
You know, what's interesting about that is it's a tie score. It's the bottom of the 9th inning. And Valencia is not on the line. He's not guarding the line. Usually your third baseman's a little bit closer to the line to take away a double. If he is, that's a base hit. But the Orioles, playing the percentages, have him off the line, and it's right at him for out number 2.
.98 for strike 2. Castro's got a chance to be a real good pitcher. Blue Jays tried him as a closer when he broke camp with him a couple of years ago. He's still just 23 years old, and he still has aspirations to be a starter.
If he's going to do that, I think he has to come up with a third pitch. And he makes mistakes with his slider. Diaz saw that the other night with that base hit. Hanging slider that stayed on the inner half. But he's got a great arm.
Machado up the middle, spins and fires off the glove of Mancini. Urshela is aboard. Machado has made 5 errors to this point. This is probably going to be number 6, and 5 of those 6 errors have been throwing errors.
That's right. Ball, he gets to this ball up the middle, but when he spins to fire, the ball is offline. Can't pick up that first baseman in time.
Yeah, that scored a base hit, but if he makes a good throw, it's an out. And the throw is off the line. So we're Schilling. He's had a 3-hit game. Solarte fouls it off his foot. Oh, and 1. Popped him up. Danny Valencia moves underneath it, and that'll do it. So the Blue Jays leave a base runner. They have stranded 7. We're going to go to extra innings. It's a 3-3 game.
Super camps across the country. You can learn techniques from former Blue Jays Jesse Barfield, Dwayne Ward, Cooperstown Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar, St. Mary's Hall of Famer Lloyd Mosby. Register now at bluejays.com/camps.
Great opportunity to get the kids out and learn some baseball from the pros. Blue Jays have done a great job with those Blue Jays Super Camps. Good crowd on hand this afternoon, 34,643, and they're treated to extra innings. Third time in, 4 days we've played extra innings.
3 out of 4. But that's been a good thing for the Blue Jays this year. What are they, 6-1?
6-1 in extra innings. Mark Trumbo is late on that fastball. It's a ball and a strike to Trumbo. Trumbo's the DH this afternoon. Trumbo reached on an error by Joe Biagini in the 8th inning. That would contribute to the Orioles tying it up. Jonathan Scope scored on a wild pitch. That's that high cutter.
That's the pitch that Trumbo hit out of here the other day off of John Axford. He's able to get on top of. The book on him is, you know, when you get to 2 strikes, you can elevate fastballs. But Trumbo got him that time. That was on Thursday.
Look out.
Watch out.
Boy, that's a tough one to get out of the way of. Up and in with 2 strikes. You're trying to hang in there right against that cutter. There's a good illustration of how much movement Axford has on that 2-seam fastball.
Oh, man. Too close for comfort.
That's a hard cutter at 95. One game complete on the schedule. The Nationals have beaten the San Francisco Giants 7-5. High fly ball into center. Pilar coming in. Trump was retired, one away. I want to remind you there's more baseball coming up next after this ball game. The Chicago White Sox, they beat Chris Sale 1-0 yesterday. David Price on the mound for Boston.
1-0, right? Dylan Covey out-dueling Chris Sale.
Joakim Soria picked up his 7th save. So that's coming up right after this ball game. White Sox have not announced their pitcher. Off the plate, ball on the strike. Trey Mancini, he was part of that run scoring rally in the 8th. He drew a walk off Tyler Clippard to load the bases. There's a curveball way outside. 2-2. Left-hander Tim Meza starts to loosen up for the Blue Jays. John Axford is the 5th relief pitcher to work for the Jays this afternoon. Aaron Sanchez went 6 in the 3rd, charged with 2 runs on 6 hits. Big swing and a miss by Mancini. Axford gets his first strikeout of the afternoon on that curveball.
He's got a good curveball. You know, he just has to throw a few of them to be effective. If he can pound that strike zone with that hard 2-seamer, there's the curveball grip that he has. He can give you multiple innings, which he is doing this afternoon. He's been pitching really well.
Chance Cisco. He's late on that fastball. Cisco's had a 2-hit afternoon, including an RBI double in the 7th. Cisco drove in the first Orioles run of the day.
That strikeout now by Axford has given him at least 1 strikeout in 21 of his 28 outings this season. I mean, that's why he's in here. He can give you some power out of that pen.
Michael Givens looks like he is set to come in and work the bottom of the 10. Diego Castro, 2 effective innings of relief. He walked a batter and gave up 2 hits, but no runs. What's wrong with that pitch? 96. Axford's tough to square up most times. He's got enough movement, enough velocity to keep the ball off the barrel of the bat. Of course, the exception was on Thursday when he gave a back-to-back home runs to Valencia and Trumbo. But the Blue Jays would win that game 5-4-10. Cisco takes a couple of high fastballs, works Axford for the walk. A 2-out walk now. Chase Peterson started out in right field. He's now in left field. Officially 1 for 3 with a couple of walks. And 2.
Axford's stuff is so good. I think he can go right after this guy right here. 0-2. Challenge him. Knock the bat right out of his hands. That's how hard his fastball is this afternoon.
Just inside, he came after him with the heater. Two balls and 2 strikes. The Orioles have stranded 12 base runners. Second most they have stranded this season. The most they stranded on May 20th. They left 14 on against Boston in a 5-0 loss. 2-2 to Peterson. He got jammed. Slow roller to second. Axford is out of the top of the 10th. The Orioles have stranded 13 base runners in a 3-3 ball game. Hernandez, Smoke, and Morales against Michael Gibbons. Double that came off David Price in the top of the first. White Sox have a 2-0 lead. We are tied at 3. Heading to the bottom of the 10th. New pitcher for the Orioles is the hard-throwing righty Michael Gibbons.
Yeah, the Blue Jays see enough of Michael Gibbons over the years. Good fastball, hard slider. He's been in 26 games this year. He's thrown 31 innings for the Orioles with 38 strikeouts. Just 15 base on balls. Last year he won 8 games out of the pen. One of those relievers that just comes in, throws up zeros, and waits for his team to score him some runs.
The Orioles got a fresh arm back off the DL. Aaron O'Day was activated today. Tanner Scott was sent back to the minors. Hernandez, Smoke, and Morales. Big bats for the Blue Jays. In this same scenario on Thursday night, Hernandez led it off with a double, scored the winning run. And you can bet he's thinking about the same thing here.
Yeah, I asked him about that, and I said, did you notice how the outfielders were deep? And he said yes. And he said, more importantly, when I hit the ball in the gap, the outfielders had to go get it. That gave me a chance then to take that extra base. There's the left fielder, Peterson, a little bit deep, trying to cut any ball off. Adam Jones in center field. Craig Gentry in right field is very deep for Hernandez. Just a couple of steps from the warning track.
Fastball in a good spot, right tight in on his hands. 2-2. Comes right at him and strikes him out with a good fastball. One away.
You can see why Buck Showalter likes Michael Givens, and he's going to use him a lot. That's a four-seam fastball from about 3/4. And he throws it right by Hernandez. Got to gear it up, get it ready.
This is the 23rd time Givens has pitched against the Blue Jays. He is 4-0 with a ERA of 4.39. Blue Jays have only hit 194 against him. They have not thrown anything inside the smoke in this entire series. They are pitching him away. Just for effect, it's 3-0.
Just a little show me right there. Blue Jays have hit 4 3-0 homers this year.
Yeah, Smokey's not too comfortable swinging 3-0. Morales is on deck. I don't expect them to throw anything close. Smoke did swing and broke his bat. They doesn't swing very often, 3-0. But he got a pitch on the inside part of the plate and shatters his bat.
When you're 1 for 5 against Michael Givens, you know you're going to get a fastball. See if you can try and end it. Got a little bit long on that swing.
Ball 4. So Smoke walks for a second straight time. But that has not been a concern to opposing pitchers. They just don't give him much to hit. That's the 43rd walk he's drawn this season. So now Givens will get a fresh count with Kendrys Morales. Got a couple of home runs. Both his hits off of Givens have left the ballpark. Pitching him upstairs.
We saw the Yankees throw a lot of fastballs to Morales. Teams have been dropping breaking balls on him, so they're switching up on him. Givens will throw his fastball to lefties 72% of the time. He's still fastball slider.
Base hit through the shift. Smoke will go to second.
Outfielders are playing deep. Morales is going to bang that one through the shift. Even though the outfielders are deep, Blue Jays can't go first to third on that play. There's Curtis Granderson. You can use him to pinch run if you want to, or you can use him to pinch hit if you have to.
Pilar goes after the first pitch and pops it over near the seats. It'll be back out of play. Well, that's the real challenge for a manager when you have a three-man bench. Devin Travis did not start this game because he was a little sore after he and Pilar collided in center field in yesterday's game. Granderson is standing by ready in case.
He's got the helmet in hand in case they want him to run.
Fly ball. Smoke went as if he thought there were 2 outs and he was headed toward third, but then gets back as Jones makes the catch in center.
Yeah, that was a ball that you could tag up on right there. It was hit deep enough to center field. But it looked like Smokey thought there were 2 outs.
I don't know if he forgot or didn't think that he could tag up, but it's a fairly deep ball. Watch Smoke at the crack of the bat. This kind of jogs toward third, and you can see Rivera saying, hey, hey, hey. I think he forgot.
Yeah, it looked like a ball that you had at least a chance to tag up and move up 90 feet.
So Randall Grichuk got hit. That'll load the bases. So Mailey is the scheduled batter. You saw Granderson in the dugout, but it doesn't look like he's going to be called upon to pinch hit.
They're talking about it in front. DeMarlo Hale's gone up to John Gibbons to talk about it right there. Talk about their options. If they want to pinch hit or if they want to pinch run, whatever you want to do. But they're going to play it straight up.
Mailey takes the ball outside. Bases are loaded. The winning run just 90 feet away. Mailey takes ball 2 in a close one. The Blue Jays are 6-1 in extra inning games. And the Blue Jays win it 4-3. Luke Mailey credited with the RBI.
They haven't had a lot of success against Michael Gibbons in the past, but the walk to Smoke just opened up the floodgates. Morales single, a hit by a pitch, and then a bases loaded walk. And the Blue Jays have won the first 3 games of this series. They're now 7-1 in extra innings this season.
They've played good in extra inning games. John Axford did a great job pitching a couple of innings. He'll be credited with the win. Michael Gibbons, 2 walks in the innings and a hit batter. He'll be charged with the loss, and the Blue Jays have won the first 3 games. This is the first series they've won since middle of April. And Axford, 2 good innings of relief. The Blue Jays win it 4-3. 4 runs on 12 hits. And Luke Mailey with the bases loaded walk in the bottom of the 10th as the Blue Jays win it.
It's almost like it's deemed to be, if you will. The Blue Jays gave up the lead when the Orioles did not get a ball out of the infield and scored on a wild pitch. They come back and win it. They get a ball out of the infield only 1 time that inning, but a hit batter, a walk, and then a bases loaded walk wins it for them.
Well, the Blue Jays have won all 3 in a row. Let's check in with Arash Madani, who's standing by on the field.
Well, Buck, it was just the way they drew it up. Right, Luke? Bases loaded, just go in there and take 4 pitches?
Yeah, sometimes it just finds you. I mean, that guy's pretty nasty. So tried to zone him up for the first couple, and then I had to make him find the plate, and luckily he didn't, so we went again.
When he just missed on the 2nd pitch, what was the thought process and approach going into the 3rd?
I was still ready to hit on the 3rd. You know, he's the type of guy, like I said, he's pretty good. So, I mean, if you get a chance to swing at one that's right down the middle, you got to take it. So just trying to stay away from 2 strikes, and then once he threw that 3rd one, it was time to wait him out.
They always talk about manufacturing different ways to win. This is one of them, huh?
No doubt. I mean, you know, we had a tough 8th inning there or whatever. You know, had that weird play, the pitch that got by me or got the clip, and but good job by our bullpen to keep it right there and give us a chance.
And that bullpen with John Axford in the 9th, Luke. What was the approach? What was the thought process with 2 on to elicit that ground ball that Diaz was able to make the play at the plate?
And we had the right guy on the mound. I mean, he's a sinker ball guy with a really heavy fastball. You know, if there's one guy you could draw up to be in that situation, it's probably him or Tep. So it was perfect and it worked out well.
What did you see from Sanchez today that you hadn't seen in his last few starts?
Yeah, I mean, he threw the ball pretty well in Detroit. I mean, he's been getting better. I think that he was just around the plate a little bit more. He made a couple really good 2-2, 3-2 off-speed pitches that got some swinging strikes, and yeah, he just competes his butt off out there. I mean, he's really fun to go out there and catch.
A win's a win. Luke, congratulations.
That's right, thanks.
Buck?
Thank you very much, Arash, and it is a big win. The Blue Jays have won the first 3, looking for the sweep tomorrow. Thanks for watching, folks. Stay tuned. Here's Jamie and Joe in Blue Jays Central.